Hey everybody, it's me, Ashley D'Angelo again, and there are those circles under my eyes. They're still not letting me sleep in this homeless shelter. Did you know that's a strategy of war in that book, The Art of War? Don't let your enemies sleep. And they're not. And I found they're using magic to make me work in places like McDonald's when I'm unconscious and not really sleep. And that's Tom Cruise, who's an abuser that abused me for not working, but I work during the day a little bit. I do part time work, freelance work on a computer and my phone on homelessness and bug out, lobbying for the poor homeless. And I talk to people that write about homelessness. I look up articles about homelessness and talk to the authors and spread information to them about how to finance, pay for care, and how to improve care. And I want to sleep at night so I'm not exhausted during the day. Um, I didn't go to grad school to work at a McDonald's. It's supposed to be my choice, how I spend my time. And I wouldn't choose to work there. I mean, I shouldn't be expected to work there with my 2 degrees and my 7 years experience in human services. And I solved the budget deficit. I talked to leaders like Joe Biden about it. My ideas about how to save this country money, and so we don't owe their country's money. And there's budget deficit. I suggested that they put in solar in government buildings to save money on electricity bill, and I suggest they do it with the military and also public schools and libraries. And the savings is a lot of money. I said homeless shelters too, because the heat costs money. Um, Long term savings is a lot of money, and end up being trillions of dollars that's saved. I said, you're not allowed to traffic me and maybe sew dicks every night in Magic Hollow. I have to sleep next to the rapist and maybe work at McDonald's and not only sleep. So this is exhaustion. If I got to sleep, I would look better. It's just sad when some people call me a hag. If I get to sleep, I look better, and they put a spell on me, fat face, so there's me, and won't let me look good. Um, but I wanted to talk to you about what's going on. That my work keeps getting plagiarized by different people, and they say I don't do my part for society. My idea was to run homeless shelters with Medicaid dollars, and told people new sources of tax revenue to fund them, and wanted to professionalize the field, people with degrees in psychology and social work like me, to eliminate malpractice and abuse. That is a part for society. And lobbying. I do lobbying not every day, but a couple days a week. Talk to leaders, talk to governors. I talk to people that write for newspapers that write about homelessness, and I tell them my thoughts. That's a part of society, advocating for the poor and homeless, and I consider that public service. I expect to get paid. I talked about improving outcomes for the poor and homeless. I have suggestions for improvement initiatives that will accomplish certain goals, improving physical and psychological health, lowering substance abuse rates, and decreasing depression and making more likely that people get jobs. I talk to Joe Biden all the time and make suggestions about how to accomplish these things. And I get stabbed in the back and slapped in the face that they're tracking me. I said, you're not allowed to do this, and especially to someone that's supposed to be a billionaire. I've invented and designed things worth billions of dollars. And also done big business, and I'm being exploited by family members and men I never married and asshole kids that I never raised, and I found they're lying and saying that I molest them. I don't molest kids. I'm a good person. I know right from wrong. I was raised Christian. I don't do bad things. I outed child molesters to the FBI, to NPR, and BBC World. I'm not one of them. I'm being abused to death by child molesters, but they're not letting me sleep. And I found out they said they're torturing me in the middle of the night. So I wake up exhausted. Someone told me they strained me, so I woke up with my neck and shoulders were hurting. That's an abusive practice that they do. Because I'm being trapped, they're telling me I don't want to cause you pain, and they kick me in my back, and my kidneys are ruined, and they give me bad water at the other homeless shelter, Oxford Street, ruined my kidneys, and I can't get legal. It's very upsetting. I contacted a personal injury lawyer, Joe Bornstein, and they don't contact me back. They're after me because I'm a socialist, but I talked about how little the cost is to the taxpayer. My way of paying for homeless services, service for the poor and homeless, other programs serve the poor too, like Social Security, and also for Medicare. I said a very little cost taxpayer. I had asked an economic expert, how much money does a taxpayer pay in taxes that helps the poor every year? Because I heard the public saying, we don't like our hard earned pay going to help the poor. And I want to know how much of it is. And the expert told me that it's 10 cents a year. I couldn't believe it. I said, how's that possible? But there's billions of people in this country and they made a very small amount so no one would complain. But they didn't know what the amount was. And I lobbied on trying to increase it to $1 a year. A 90% increase, so a lot could be done to help the poor and homeless, including building more affordable housing for the able-bodied people that have a job that can't find affordable housing where they would only take 30% of their income, be public housing. But then I also said they should offer Section 8 housing vouchers to unemployed people that, or there's people that are disabled that don't receive Social Security yet that haven't been approved. Maybe they haven't been connected to that system or applied, but want to get people off the streets and not be living in homeless shelters for years. I've been homeless for 5 years, and 3 years in this city, Portland, Maine. I applied for public housing when I first returned to Portland, Maine, the city where I got my MSW, and I'm still waiting to get housing, and there's abusers trying to keep me out of it by saying criminal background. I'll tell you what happened in San Francisco. I threw a rock through a window of a restaurant that said Papa Lot. I said Papa Not. They knew that my father had come out there from Maine to California to rape me. And I didn't like that that restaurant knew that he was raping me in the woods. I was sleeping in the woods, living in Golden Gate Park because the home shelter system was abusive there. And it was bad. I didn't want to stay there. So I slept in the woods for a long time. And so that is a charge that could potentially keep me out of housing. They should rethink that public housing because, I was upset about abuse. And in this city, Portland, Maine, I was unlawfully detained several times by traffickers who control the police. The police colluded with traffickers. I was put in paddy wagon for eating peanut butter, which is ridiculous, and I was put in jail. And they abused me in jail, and they made money abusing me in jail, doing smut and sadism, made me go to the bathroom in a jail cell and not removing the feces, which is disgusting. But there are men that pay money to watch women get abused, and when you stand up to the abuser, they say it's dogs barking. Dogs are women that get trafficked and abused. They make a lot of money abusing me, and they lie because they want permission to abuse. They lie and say I molest kids, and they lie and say prostitutes. Not prostitute, haven't had sex since 2017. They're now saying this is what we do to dogs. I told you that they said a dog is a one gets trafficked. They use magic to traffic us when we're unconscious. And there's a dog park outside this home shelter, Florence House, run by Pearl Street, and a big gray parking garage. Big gray means we're attract you big. They don't believe in charity like me, and they just, they're not raised Christian like I am. I would never traffic a homeless person for food and shelter because that's abusive, and I wouldn't do anything that would make them depressed or make them want to use substances because the current system, they traffic people all over the country, the men included. Joe Biden said, that's what we do because they don't work. He abuses them, says make them so dicks in Magic Home. And some of them find out and they abuse substances because they don't know how to cope with the depression. And I asked God, I said, how many of them kill themselves? And God said 40%. I couldn't believe that. It made me so sad. I said, we're not allowed to traffic poor homeless. I told Samsung, and homeless law in DC said, can't we make it illegal to traffic the poor homeless? But no one's made it illegal. It still happens. So I think what we need to do is get homeless people in more positions of power that they can decide who the staff is and form coalitions for the homeless and board of directors, and they get to decide who gets to work in homeless shelters. They get to hire them and interview them, ask them questions like, do you believe it's okay to trap people, and hire people with degrees in psychology, social work, preferably people with degrees in psychology, so they care about the person's psychological health and not be willing to do something that will push them towards suicide. So, make them want to use substances. Caring people that, want to see people be successful. I found out that the left makes money abusing the homeless, and that makes me really sad. So we have to take the power away from them, but they're the ones that decide where the tax dollars go. But we have to get homeless people organized in positions of power. So they took my power away from me by taking away my ID and taking away my social security so I didn't get to look good. I said money lifts people up. I have multiple traumatic brain injuries. I'm a victim of torture since 2017. There are people that use magic to torture me and they still do it. Torture makes you tired, causes trauma. I also have heart and lung damage, kidney failure, and they ruin my intestines too. So I don't want to sleep and all kinds of trauma. They follow me around all day, 24 hours a day, using magic to torture me, even torturing my vagina and my feet, telling me I'm not allowed to walk places without their permission. That's Aaron Cooper and Gretchen. They use, they just use magic to make me burp. I hate magic people. They use magic to do invisibility, which you wouldn't think. They want you to think I'm crazy and I'm mentally ill, but magic people are real. They took an oath to adult to do magic, and that's how they do invisibility. And Aaron Cooper is a child molester that molested me when I was a kid, and he knows that I don't like child molesters. I hate child molesters, so he's saying he's going to do saves in me, and him and Gretchen, both child molesters, are going to abuse me to that. And they lie and say I'm a child molester, so they get permission to abuse. But I said, ask God about me. I'm a good person. The servants of the devil, they lie, and they're both servants of the devil. So I'm hoping that you'll stand up for my rights to be able to sleep at night and have an abuse and harass free environment so I can be more productive. Not torture me at night during the day. They lie and say I molested my own kids, so they say let's torture her at night. Or lied and said I was a bad social worker that I abused clients. I never abused any clients. I was never fired from any of my positions when I was working in human services before I went to grad school in the city. They're not being honest. A bunch of them took bribes, which makes me sad. So I'm asking that you stand up for my rights to have an abuse around free environment and fire abuse staff that are not only sleep and track me, and have my own children track me that I didn't raise. I was never around any of them when their children didn't even know where they were. They did blinds to me. They stole eggs from me and produced children, and they told me there was over 1,000 children. I didn't try to find any of them. There's too many of them. If I talked to one, I wouldn't have time for others, and they would get upset that I talked to one. And but I'm not an abusive person, so I'm hoping that you'll take this video and share it with others and say, hey, Ashley is not an abuser. Please stop abusing her and help her get into that apartment at Franklin Towers so she can have her own place, not sleep next to abusers, and be a more productive member of society. People need things to be successful in life, as sleep is one of them, and a non-abusive environment. I get abused all day, so I'm hoping you'll stand up for my rights to get a restraining order against Aaron Cooper and Gretchen and make them leave Portland, Maine. Thank you.